Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Ultimate Comics Podcast. My name is Nabeel Gaber, and I'm one of your hosts.
I'm Josh, the other host.
And this is the podcast where we talk about all things comics, really. We started out as a podcast talking about Ultimate Marvel, an imprint of Marvel that began in the year 2000 to modernize and bring Marvel and its characters into the 21st century. We've since branched out to talk more broadly and generally about comics and also comic book media like movies and TV and animation and things like that. So this episode is a very special episode for us. We wanted to take time to talk about the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon from the early 2010s because
Yeah.
it is a special part of both of our childhoods and both of our love for the Avengers and Marvel and things like that. We've also honestly brought it up quite a few times. I feel like talking about it on the podcast generally, that I think it just made sense to just take an episode just to talk about more specifically and delve deeper into one of our favorite comic book cartoons of all time, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Also because Josh just said we should. So
I think what happened was I saw an Instagram video and I sent it to you and one of our fans. And to you, I said, should we ever do a hindsight on Earth's Mightiest Heroes? And you're like, yeah, it's relevant to the Ultimate stuff. You say it's more like taken from 616. I think it also takes a lot from Ultimates and makes lots of nods to it. So
yeah, because the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, this aired from September 2010 to November 2012. So this was like really early stages that they were starting like the MCU, like the live action movies and everything. So there was a little bit of adaptation and synergy with the MCU, but for the most part, it did take a lot of inspiration mainly from the comics. I think a lot of the main 616 comics and the early 60s Avengers comics, but you can see some inspiration from Ultimate too here and there, and just various comic book inspiration for the characters. And, most of the MCU synergy I feel like comes with Iron Man, just because this was
Robert,
after the first two Iron Man movies with Robert Downey Jr. So they
I,
take a lot of elements from those movies and put them in here.
and I will say this: Robert Downey Jr. has definitely changed the way we think about Iron Man and superheroes in general. He
Yes.
is a guy with lots of love for the character. I will be fair, but he also did change. Like, not that it's not like it's a fault of him, but he did change that character a lot. I will say.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think Robert Downey Jr. totally redefined Iron Man, even looking in at the comics too, like how he's portrayed and written now. So much of that still takes, I feel, in personality wise, from the general snark and swagger and like sarcastic quippiness of Robert Downey Jr. and his interpretation, his portrayal of Tony Stark, Iron Man on screen. And
I
then, yeah, you get that in the cartoon we're talking about today, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, where Iron Man, obviously being one of the main characters, I at first watching this cartoon, when I heard his voice, I could have sworn it was Robert Downey Jr. in the
they definitely
role.
try to replicate it. Like, you get
Yeah.
it doesn't have a high pitched voice, but he does have like this. It's the slightest of all nasal qualities, and
Yeah.
they just give it to Iron Man.
Yeah, you can tell the voice actor is doing a very clear RDJ impression
Yeah.
when he's voicing Iron Man. So that's a
Not,
clear piece of MCU synergy, but
not an impression. I'm trying to think of the word where it's like you do hints of it because you can't do it, but you want to like convey it in a way. There's like another
yeah,
word for it.
exactly.
He's trying to convoke. I don't know, convocate.
Yeah, he's trying to like invoke, I think might be the
Yeah.
word. Yeah. But I think let's just start with Josh. When did you first watch Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes? What was your first exposure to this show?
I saw it not when it first came out, but I did notice it was coming out right when the MCU movies were coming out, so that's when I kind of took notice of it.
Yeah, it was like around the time, like we were saying, that the MCU was just starting up. But yeah, this was a cartoon that aired on Disney XD, and I was so excited when it was coming out in 2010. I was probably, I think it was like 13 or so. I was in like middle school,
Oh yeah.
and I was in the throes of my seventh grade angst. But I was so hyped for this series, and I remember they did a lot of promotion for it. And one of my favorite things about Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes is that they started out with these like micro episodes on
Yeah.
Marvel.com that were mainly meant to introduce gradually each main character from the show, each of the Avengers. So you got micro episodes on Iron Man and then Captain America and Thor and the Hulk. And then during that, you get glimpses of like Hawkeye and Ant-Man and the Wasp and Black Panther and everyone. Like all the main characters, you gradually get to see their introduction and you get to see different corners of the Marvel Universe. So it's really smart how they started this show like that, and it gives a spotlight to all the major characters before bringing everyone together, which is exactly like in the comics where they all get their separate introductions and their own storylines before the Avengers were started. And then that was later done in the MCU, where each main character, most of them anyways, get their own movies to introduce them before the Avengers film itself.
I
So I really enjoyed that.
I will say I learned to love Ant Man because of this show. Ant Man was just shown as Hank Pym, who's very different in this one, kind of similar to 616, but very different from Ultimate and the MCU version. Like it's like the first time you see Ant Man as a cool character, I thought in media, because he like how he pushes a button and his suit glows up because you see the
Yeah,
Pym particles go and like distribute around his body. He has a mostly healthy relationship with Wasp, and I feel a lot
mostly.
of it's. I
It's
say it's,
relative. It's better than like main universe. Better
but
than Ultimate, that's for sure.
yeah, but I feel most relationships on TV at the time, even as a kid, I noticed were not that healthy. Like, is just this innocent take. And also, I think they did put Ant Man in there because we'll talk more about him. Because the original plan for the Avengers movie was Edgar Wright's Ant Man was going to come out first.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
took forever and it was in production limbo forever. And then by the time the Ant-Man movie came out in 2015, Edgar Wright had like dropped out entirely, and they still use like a good chunk of the ideas that he gave them and like wrote in the original screenplay and everything, but he wasn't attached to the project anymore,
he's
unfortunately. And by that time the first Avengers movie had it came and went. This was actually after Age of Ultron too, so like two
yeah.
full Avengers movies had come out before they brought Ant-Man into the MCU.
Yeah. I will also say I still feel like they advertise as this is Edgar Wright's Ant Man. They still advertised it that way too, which was
Yeah,
funny.
because you can tell that there are a lot of elements from the original, like Edgar Wright concept for that movie in there, which makes it really good. But then there's quite a bit that's changed to fit it more into the MCU. And I think that's where. Anyways, I digress. That's just where it happened. And it's a shame we'll never see that. But yes, Ant-Man is really great in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I feel like we'll get into it, but what I love about Earth's Mightiest Heroes is that it feels like this is like the best versions and like the ideal versions to me of all the characters shown here. I feel like everyone gets such a good portrayal in this show, and it just feels like, yeah, this is like the quintessential, this is the definitive take on all these characters that in some ways some of them are done like better than their comic counterparts
Ant
sometimes,
Man.
like if I'm being real. Yeah, Hank Pym for sure being among them. Yeah, it's the origin is very much like a combination of the 616 1960s Stan Lee, Jack Kirby Avengers origin, and then the new Avengers, the Brian Michael Bendis origin, because it's all about like the original five Avengers come together. You see Ant-Man, the Wasp, Iron Man, Thor, the Hulk, just like in the original 60s comics, the exact roster coming together, but it's combined with the Bendis New Avengers origin because it's all about them teaming up to stop this massive breakout that's been orchestrated. And spoilers, I mean, if you're listening to this, you've probably seen the show, but the big bad, the mastermind behind all this being Loki, which is exactly like in Avengers #1 by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. So
Yeah.
they take like modern elements from the comics and combine that with the classic elements, which is really cool. But what's cool is that what I was excited to see as a kid when I watched it, having read the original Avengers comics, they do a lot of the same plot beats, like broadly from the 60s comics. Like they all come together, and then pretty soon the Hulk leaves because he feels like they all just see him as a monster.
Because he is.
Right. And then right after that, you have Captain America showing up. They find him frozen in the ice. And then over time, you get like Black Panther and then Hawkeye. And then it kind of changes a little bit. Like Hulk rejoins the team shortly afterwards. And you're like, wow, that's crazy. Because in the main comics, the Hulk left and did not come back until like 2012, which funny the timing on that because that was shortly after the first Avengers movie
Yeah.
came out. Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's very, very much inspired, I feel like, by the original 60s comics. You have them in the first season facing a bunch of big major Marvel villains like the Masters of Evil, which straight out of the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby Avengers comics.
Led by Baron Zemo.
Yeah, by Baron Zemo. It's got a lot of those same members in the Masters of Evil. You got Baron Zemo, you have the Enchantress and the Executioner. There's an episode that focuses on Wonder Man, which is like almost a direct adaptation of the Avengers #9 Wonder Man origin story from the Stan Lee Jack Kirby run. You have him joining the Masters of Evil reluctantly, kind of like in the original Avengers comics.
Claw was also in the Masters of Evil, I believe, in this series.
Claw was here, but he wasn't part of the Masters of Evil.
Yeah, in the comics, right? Or was he?
No. Oh, that was like later. He was in the Masters of Evil later on during like the Roy Thomas stuff, yeah.
Wait, was Claw not in the Masters of Evil in the show?
No, he wasn't.
Because, okay, but the Masters of Evil in the show, like, the big thing is, it's the classic thing, like, there's a group of superheroes, let's get each other villains and have them fight them.
Yeah.
But they'll fight each other, so you can't use the same tricks over and over again. So he just didn't get anyone for Ant-Man?
No, I feel like, let's see, they got Baron Zemo, Enchantress, Executioner, Abomination, Crimson Dynamo.
Oh.
They did get Wonder Man too, so I mentioned him already, but yeah, I think that's everyone that I can think of.
Didn't get anyone for Ant-Man? That's kind of...
Yeah. No, I don't think they got anyone. I think that's pretty much it for like the main roster for the Masters of Evil. So they got someone for the Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, Captain America. Yeah, I mean, they didn't get anyone for Hawkeye and Black Panther. But to be fair, when they assembled them in the show, they didn't even know Hawkeye and Black Panther were on the team, so that was funny.
I do remember that episode ends with Zemo telling the others, like, Ant-Man has escaped. He is the most dangerous one.
Yeah. And that's very fun, because then Hawkeye, Black Panther, and Ant-Man, they're the secret weapons in the plan against the Masters of Evil during that whole episode, which is very fun.
Not that secret thing. Zemo was like, we have to get Ant-Man. He's the most dangerous.
Yeah, but then Black Panther and Hawkeye just sneak him in. They just find Ant-Man and they like use him to sneak in, and then he grows into Giant Man.
I think that's the first time he grows into Giant Man too.
No, he'd been Giant Man before.
Because before he kicks Abomination, remember Abomination tells Zemo, "I was like, you're the worst one if you think Ant-Man's the biggest threat," and then he just turns into Giant Man, and Abomination goes, "Yeah, I see why now. Never mind."
Yeah, he just punts Abomination after that. He grows into Giant Man and punts him out of there, and he's out for the rest of the fight.
I will say, that was a fun one, and I love the reaction to Baron Zemo, where Captain America comes out, he's adjusting to the new world. I used to hate how technophobic he was, and then I realized I also hate the fact we use apps for everything. I hate the fact you need to, like, download an app to pay, like, a parking token just to park your car for 3 minutes.
See?
Or a cop shows up, also with an app. Some reason. And I also hate the fact AI is everywhere, taking our jobs, making it slower, making it harder. So you know what, Captain America has a point, but I love his reaction. He comes back, he's like, man, everyone I know is dead. And then he sees Zemo, and his first reaction is, Zemo, you should be dead.
Yeah.
It's like,
he's like, this isn't fair. All of my friends and loved ones are dead, but this bitch is alive.
It's like aren't you like hell? 90?
If everyone I know is going to be dead, can we make it so that everyone I know is dead? Why is my arch nemesis still alive?
Yeah, and I love the line Zemo gives where he goes like, let the Red Skull have Bucky. Your life is mine to take. And you get hints, like, you get flashbacks to Red Skull and Bucky, and actually they come back too, but...
Yeah, but like Baron Zemo is really menacing in this. He's a big threat, and they do such a good job adapting the comic version of this character in the show and making him the leader of the Masters of Evil and such a big rival for Captain America. And I feel like they do that for all the villains too, because then they have like the leader is done super well. Like I love those Gamma World episodes. Those are so much fun.
Beta Ray too, right?
Oh yeah, but he's not a villain. But they get Beta Ray Bill later. The first season, they go up against a Kree sentry, and that introduces us to like Mar-Vell as well and then also introduces us to Carol Danvers, and then that gives her her powers, which plants the seed for the next season.
Yeah.
Then they're introducing like Hydra's there, Kang the Conqueror. They adapt like the Kang Dynasty straight out of the comics. Even the Masters of Evil episode that adapts like the Under Siege storyline from the Roger Stern comics in the 80s. Like there's so much influence you can see from the comics. Malekith and like the Casket of Ancient Winters storyline, they adapt that. You get AIM in there, you get Ultron. Like they do such a great job with Ultron, and like they actually have Hank Pym creating Ultron, just like in the comics.
When I first watched those episodes, I did not know Ultron was going to be evil, because Hank Pym just builds a ton of Ultrons, and he goes like, these will be my minions in fights, and they're good at fighting Kang the Conqueror and the Kree.
Yeah, they do a really good job, like, gradually building up to Ultron, because Ultron is just meant to be a force for good at first in this show. Like, Hank Pym is a pacifist, and he's trying to find peaceful solutions to, like, help people and save lives, and it goes horribly wrong.
And I also like the idea where, like, every bad guy has minions, and I'm like, why doesn't the good guy have minions? And Hank Pym goes like, we have a ton of Ultron robots. I built a ton of them. They're super durable and smart. They should just go into battle.
And it plays such a crucial role in like the Kang Dynasty episodes, because then that's the turning point, is when Hank like reluctantly programs the Ultron robots for violence against Kang's army to be just the help that they need to turn the tide in this battle. And that is what builds up to the Ultron episodes later, and where things go horribly wrong with Ultron. Like the intentions are good, and he's like desperate, and they need to like save the world. And then Ultron, the best laid plans of mice and men and all that, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's so well done, the storytelling and how they like make it work within the context of the show, but also like do a good job adapting something that was set up in the comics, like Ultron. And they can still like do a good job of telling the Kang Dynasty storyline as well.
I just want to throw a joke where, like, in the Kang Dynasty episode, a lot of the Ultrons die, and when they fight Ultron, Thor goes like, I thought like these guys were easy because like a ton of them just died as fodder when we used them, and now they're like indestructible because he smashes one with a hammer and it just keeps building itself back immediately.
Because Ultron keeps upgrading himself. He's got all like the nanobots that rebuild themselves. Next thing you know, he's lining himself with adamantium, so he's indestructible. Like, you can't stop him.
You sucked when I worked with you, but now you're like unbeatable.
Yeah, he's been hitting the gym.
Yeah, he's been juicing.
The whole storyline, this whole season also culminates in a really fun 3-part finale where the Avengers like go to Asgard and face off against Loki, who is the big mastermind of the whole season. And that's such a fun series of episodes too, because you get to see the Avengers like scattered and stranded in Asgard, and so many of them like out of their element. Like Thor is obviously from Asgard, but he's captured by Loki, and
his banging Enchantress.
I mean, Enchantress wishes.
Well, they were like cuddling in that one alternate universe.
Well, yeah, that's when Ultron seemingly kills Thor, but then he just vanishes, and Enchantress is trying to whisk him away to another world. But the Asgard episodes are fun because you get to see so many of the Avengers out of their element and scattered and like faced with new challenges. You see Hulk, meeting up with Volstagg and the Warriors 3 and saving a bunch of Asgardians, and then you see Iron Man in the workshop of the dwarves. Yeah,
like, I'll be honest, Iron Man is not out of his element. You just put him in like somewhere else.
You like put Tony Stark, like is just like right back in a cave with a box of scraps.
But it's not a box of scraps. They build him. He helps them build another mech suit, another Iron Man suit.
They did put him in like the best possible situation that he could be in. He's like, the workshop of the dwarves, the people who are there to like build things and like create weapons.
I understand them.
Yeah, like he's like, damn, this could not have worked out more perfectly. If he was gonna be scattered like anywhere across the 9 realms, like put him with the dwarves, get him to work, give him a hammer and an anvil.
And he shows back up with like the Iron Man, the original Iron Man suit, but it's magic this time.
Yes, so it's super cool, like getting to see stuff like that.
I also wanted
that was very fun.
Quickly say that I think the character they actually changed the most, since we're talking about this part, is Thor, where they just straight up use his MCU like version, almost straight up, where like he is not Dr. Donald Blake at all. He never lost his memory. He is just Thor, the God of Thunder. Yeah,
they just ditched that, and I feel like that's probably for the best. Ditching the whole Donald Blake.
It's a little convoluted.
Persona. Yeah, it's just a little like hokey and like, okay, really? Because I think that's the thing with like secret identities too, is like not every hero needs them.
Yeah,
Because back in the 60s, you literally gave every one of them a secret identity because that was the standard. That's the formula. Like every
yeah.
superhero has one. But then you get to a point where you're like, all right, Thor, really? Does he need like he needs to like like, and it was kind of a contrived like weakness that they gave him just to take him out of play whenever the plot demanded it. It was like, oh no, like I've been away from my hammer for more than 60 seconds. I've turned back to Donald Blake and I can't like turn back to Thor because I don't have my walking cane that turns into a hammer. What a shame. Like, oh shucks, like now he's indisposed and you can't have Thor or things like that. And I was just like eye rolling, like, okay, come on. And like giving him like a civilian life as Dr. Donald Blake. And I feel like people just didn't care about Dr. Blake.
I feel one day they should just. I want to see like a Donald Blake story, where like you find out much later he is Thor, and then you ditch it if you keep going on further with the story. Or like Doctor Donald Blake's a good guy. He's a doctor. He's helping people because it's Thor deep down. And but like once you become Thor, the mystery, if the mystery was ever there, is kind of thrown aside. Honestly,
I mean, there are like ways when like a mortal identity for Thor makes sense. I mean, just look what they're doing in the comics right now
yeah,
with the mortal Thor. Like that's interesting and that's fun and that's like a cool idea of like, okay, I'm interested to see what the purpose of this is. I think in a lot of ways it is humbling for Thor. I think in a lot of ways it's challenging for Thor, strip him of his powers, but like at least with the mortal Thor, he's like Sigurd Jarlson, which I prefer because it's like, all right, this
it's Nordic.
seems more like Thor. Yeah, he's Nordic, and there's a
Oh, I
mystery
gotta
there.
leave New York to get to my free healthcare land.
Yeah, but that aside, I digress. Point being, like, Thor didn't really need a secret identity. Like, putting Dr. Donald Blake in this show wouldn't have really made much sense. Iron Man, again, didn't need a secret identity,
Yeah,
even though the MCU synergy was mainly like Iron Man in this show. Like, they already based him very much on Robert Downey Jr. in the show, whose identity was public in the
yeah,
MCU. So they're like, let's just adapt that version of the character. They were like, he's basically Robert Downey Jr. Jarvis is an AI, not a butler, just like in the movies. You know,
yeah,
there's a lot of focus on like Pepper Potts and like Rhodey and everyone in his whole world, which isn't really far off from the comics, but still, like, it's very clearly like, oh, this is Iron Man from the movies. That's like the prime example of MCU synergy because that's what they had so far
yeah.
at the time in the MCU was Iron Man.
And I think Iron Man, that part of we're mostly okay with, especially because I feel in the 2000s we were moving. Iron Man was moving away from that too in the M616. Like Tony
Yeah.
Stark was the director of Shield for a bit.
Yeah, and like Iron Man, it doesn't really make too much. Like that was also kind of contrived, giving him a secret identity. It's painful reading the '60s Iron Man comics because it's constantly like, "Oh no, where's Tony Stark? Tony Stark's bodyguard, Iron Man's here. Hey, what have you done with Tony Stark?" There would literally be plot lines about like Iron Man being trapped in his armor and people being like, "Where's Tony Stark? What did you do with him? When's Tony coming back?" And it just creates all this needless, unnecessary, like stupid drama and conflict. And I'm like eye rolling. I'm like, just tell them that you are Tony Stark. What do you have to lose? You're a billionaire. Like you have nothing to lose here.
But his
This is
chains.
very low. Yeah. And a world to gain. Like this is insane. This is so dumb. Stop telling them that, like even the movie pokes fun at like we're really gonna say that like he's my bodyguard. Like that's kind of ridiculous, don't you think? At a certain point, I'm like, just ditch it. Just say
When
you're Iron Man.
he ditched his secret identity, he did get a job running Shield. So
Yeah,
that's billionaire privilege.
yeah. Seriously, just like the Fantastic Four. They were pretty well off, so I'm like, yeah, you don't really have much to lose if you guys are just public from the get go because, like,
It
you're
depends on the hero,
celebrities. Yeah, it
really.
depends on the hero. Because, like, in Spider Man, secret identity makes sense.
He's not rich. He's a regular
Yeah,
guy.
Daredevil, also not rich, makes sense to have a secret identity.
Okay, he's not poor either. He's a lawyer.
I mean, usually he is pretty, like, poor as a lawyer. Like, he's not making the big bucks in his career for the most part. He's
Uh,
doing, like, a lot of pro bono work.
from what I know of my friends who became lawyers, if you are a poor lawyer, you're still doing okay than most of us. I think.
All right, well, that's fair.
You're just working a lot more. And
Yeah,
also,
but
every time I see Matt Murdock in anything, he's dressed up in an expensive suit. Not a cheap suit like I wear. He wears a good suit. So where's he getting that money? Pro bono work? My ass.
damn, someone has it out for Matt Murdock. My God,
Do you
where did
remember
that come from?
the Ben Affleck movie where like he loses cases and then like he finds his clients, he tracks his clients down to beat the shit out of them? I'm like, that is not cool, man.
Or yeah, the people that he's trying to prosecute. Yeah,
Yeah, just prosecute them. Don't like hunt them down. That's really fucked
yeah,
up.
he's actually a terrible lawyer in the Ben Affleck movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the show. Yeah. Season 2 of Earth's Mightiest Heroes is like, it feels like they go even bigger in scope and
Yeah.
scale than this first one. The first one, it felt like was very much laying the groundwork for everything with the characters. And then
Yeah.
season 2, they just got to have fun with it because like the first half of the season is them adapting Secret Invasion. The cliffhanger at the end of Earth's Mightiest Heroes is they're back at the mansion, and then Captain America's looking at like his broken shield, and then he looks up and there's another Captain America there, and he's like, what? And then he gets like shot with like a stun ray, and then the other Captain America morphs into a Skrull and reports in and goes, the infiltration has begun.
You know, in the comics, the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D. during the Skrull invasion, I believe, is Tony Stark.
Yes, yeah. And that's like really where his downfall comes in the comics, is during Secret Invasion.
Maybe we shouldn't let a billionaire who's never had a job in government run a giant government agency.
I mean, all right, let's be fair. Like, Maria Hill is director of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the Earth's Mightiest Heroes show, and she doesn't do that much better during Secret Invasion.
Yeah. Nick Fury in this one is interesting because like he's a mix between the Ultimate Nick Fury and 616 Nick Fury. He's much less of an asshole than both of them, but
Yeah.
he looks like a black version of the white Nick Fury, which I find.
Yeah, because in the first season, he does like have that Samuel L. Jackson look to him, but at the same time, his hair, like first of all, he still has hair,
It's
which
the
is crazy.
616 Nick Fury.
Yeah, but he's got like the gray temples, like the 616, like white Nick Fury, which is really funny. But by the second season, he's bald and he looks exactly like Samuel L. Jackson.
It's all the stress from the aliens, you know?
Yeah.
You're running a spy agency and then you find out, like, hey, aliens are real. Also, like, a bunch of, like, extra dimensional gods invaded Earth. And also Nazis are back. You're gonna go like, I fucking lose it, man. I quit.
Yeah. Well, he actually gets the Grey Temples in the show during like a fight with the Grim Reaper when he's like draining him of like his youth. So the more you know.
Yeah. Oh man, this show has a lot more depth than I realized.
There's layers and layers, man. Everything has a reason.
Like an ogre or a tree
or a parfait.
What's a parfait?
But it's the best thing on this whole damn planet.
Isn't that from Shrek? I know what he says parfait, but I don't know what a parfait is. Is it like a bread?
It's like yogurt and like, jam and granola.
Oh, that's a lot lamer than I realized.
It's good. I like parfaits. Anyways, but yeah, the first half of the season of season 2 does Secret Invasion, and in my opinion, I think they do it better than the comics. Because I like Secret Invasion in the comics. Like, don't get me wrong. I like the build up to Secret Invasion. I like the who do you trust, like infiltration stuff, like the new Avengers, like Bendis kind of stuff. I like a lot of like Nick Fury going off the grid mode, and he's like investigating everything and assembling his new Howling Commandos. That's all fun. But like what the comics miss is that like not a lot of really important figures in the Marvel universe are taken and replaced.
Hank Pym is.
I mean, yeah, but like let's be real here. Like you get like Elektra is replaced, Black Bolt, Hank Pym, Spider-Woman is replaced by the Skrull Queen. These are like
B characters.
Yeah, because by comparison, you look at Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Captain America is replaced. That's
and
a pretty big deal. Yeah, Mockingbird is replaced by the Skrull Queen in this one, who's arguably probably an even smaller character than Spider-Woman. So that's not a good example, but Invisible Woman from the Fantastic Four, she gets replaced.
I love how they found out. It's because Dr. Doom is the one who deduced that people are disappearing. Because he's a selfless guy.
Yeah, exactly. Not the selfless guy kind of thing. He's really just out for himself. But they do introduce Dr. Doom like right out of the gate in the first episode of season 2 and the Fantastic Four.
He abducts Wasp and Invisible Woman. They're like, why is he abducting the girls? And it's found, and he goes, and Doctor Doom is the one who realized the Skrull Queen is there pretending to be a hero, and he's the one who found it out. He's the first human to figure it out.
Yes. It's a cool way to like introduce Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four and also tie it into the overarching plot line of the main season.
And you also get the MCU thing of Iron Man making things a slightly worse by helping, because he destroys all the Skrull files in Castle Doom.
Yeah, he destroys like Skrull detector technology, and I'm like, okay, buddy, like, come on, man.
Dr. Doom goes like,
helped.
You beat me in a fight, and just to rub insult, you blew up my computer with all the Skrull files. Baron Zemo's the other one finds out, because he goes to Captain America and says, like, hey, the Masters of Evils, we're getting hunted down by Enchantress, because at the end of the Masters of Evils plot point, Enchantress betrays them after he betrays Enchantress by putting a mind control call on her, and she's pissed about it, so she's tracking down the Masters of Evils to kill Zemo, and Zemo asks Captain America for help, and the Avengers goes, why Captain America? And Zemo says something really interesting where he goes like, because I know Captain America. I know if you go to him for help and he gives you his word, he's not going to break it until he dies. Yep. And then Captain America betrays him, and Zemo just goes like, you are not a Captain America, I know, or something.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how he's like, oh my god, that's a Skrull. That's not Captain America.
Yeah.
This season like introduces so many new characters too. Because then Rhodey becomes War Machine, like Surtur is introduced, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Scott Lang, and he becomes Ant-Man.
And never shows up.
Yeah, once or twice, but yeah, mostly never shows up. Beta Ray Bill, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, the Red Hulk. And also what's interesting is that season 2 of Earth's Mightiest Heroes actually weren't afraid to change the roster and like make some changes. The season starts with Thor off in Asgard and doing his own thing. Hank Pym has retired. And then later, Captain Marvel joins the team too, Carol Danvers. Or I think she's just Ms. Marvel at the time, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really exciting. Here's one of my big gripes with season 2 is that the Hulk gets like arrested early on in the season during like the Skrull infiltration as like part of a plot to like, you know, take him off the board. He doesn't come back for like most of the rest of the season. Like they, even after like Secret Invasion is over, they just forget about him. Like it took them so long to like say, hey, you know, he was framed, right? Like he was wrongfully imprisoned for like the Red Hulk's crimes. It's like episode 8 of the season he's arrested. He doesn't get out of prison till like episode 20. So like,
isn't
it's
he
insane.
Bruce Banner by then too, or no?
Yeah, it's like you left him just rotting in a cell for like most of the season. Like, guys, come on.
I remember the scene when he's out and he goes, I could help. And it's like, I'm an Avenger. And Hawkeye goes, you're not an Avenger. My bow's not an Avenger. And they're in the elevator. Bruce goes like, you're really pissing me off. And he just walks, he just like puts space between him and Bruce.
Yeah, they're kind of a dick to Bruce. I'll be real.
Yeah, he's a scientist. He's the world's best physicist or something.
But the Secret Invasion is really cool in this because it does have like lasting consequences, you know?
Yeah.
For a while, Black Panther goes back to Wakanda. The Hulk is imprisoned, as much as that infuriates me, for how long he is.
The Black Panther also, there's a Skrull like who looks like Black Panther 2.
Yeah, exactly. And Captain America has to do a lot to earn back the trust of the public. So that's really rough, but at least like Thor comes back for Secret Invasion, so he makes it. But yeah, it's really well done.
I was also gonna say, I know we did season 1 little scattershot. I love they introduced Wakanda from like one of the first episodes because Ant-Man is in Wakanda doing research on ants.
Yeah, that's right.
Which also shows something about Ant-Man that like he's one of the few non-Wakandans to be invited into Wakanda before T'Challa takes charge. So, you know, he's a cool guy.
Yeah, he gets a pass.
He gets a pass.
He's a cool white dude, yeah.
At
least he's a scientist, yeah.
But also knowing Hank Pym in this series, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes into Wakanda, it's full of advanced technology, and he just doesn't notice because it's focused on the ants.
Yeah. Like, you don't want to do anything with vibranium or like any of that, you know, we got so many cool things, like, nah.
Nah, I got hired for the ants, I stick to my job.
I'm here for the ants. That's what I am. I am the Ant-Man.
It's like, the Wakandans hired him because he's gonna be, he has a lot of discretion because he just doesn't notice things.
Yeah.
I think that this is like a toxic trait. That there's an episode when like he retires and they come back to him, and he later becomes the Yellow Jacket. They go like, "Hey, without the Wasp to tell you, do you like shower and eat?"
Yeah, like Hank Pym is complicated in this show, but is an interesting version of the character. He does, yeah, become a lot more aggressive and kind of like dickish when he becomes Yellow Jacket later on in the season, which kind of like goes very much against his original like pacifist, I'm just a scientist kind of stuff.
Yeah,
It's kind of sad what happens to Hank Pym in this show.
yeah. I do like the end, one of the end episodes where like he says, "This bomb will kill us and take Earth with us." And who's like lady in charge of sword?
Oh, Abigail Brandt, yeah.
Yeah, Abigail Brown's like, "Cause like Henry, please, you can't let all of us die." And he just shrinks it at the last second.
Yeah, he's like, oh my gosh, he's totally different as Yellow Jacket. He's reckless. He's just kind of like quippy and snarky and just kind of like a jerk a little bit.
Yeah,
He's got an
you,
attitude about him.
you know, if he sneezed like 1 second later, we could have all been killed in the explosion.
Yeah. The second half of this season is again continuing to expand this universe because the second half of Earth's Mightiest Heroes season 2 introduces Spider-Man, the Vision, Annihilus, Hank becomes Yellow Jacket, the Winter Soldier comes in, they even formed the new Avengers for an episode.
The Red Skull comes in too.
Yeah, the Red Skull comes back.
And I believe it's the new Avengers, but like in the show they call them the Reserve Avengers. These are the backups.
Yeah, the episode's called the New Avengers, but yeah, they are like reserve Avengers, really.
Yeah,
In
Wolverine,
case anything happens. Yeah, Wolverine is introduced for this.
He kills a dinosaur.
Yeah, off screen, but we can tell he doesn't. Spider-Man knows.
They mentioned that he killed a dinosaur or something.
Yeah, like yikes. Yeah, he wiped out the dinosaurs again, as Spider-Man said. But this season adapts so many big storylines from the comics too, like Ultron Unlimited. They do an episode that's kind of like Emperor Doom, but it's really Emperor Stark. Yeah. Avengers Red Zone, Operation Galactic Storm.
Isn't a little different from Emperor Doom because in this one, I think it's the Purple Man is the one who convinces Tony to conquer the world.
Yes.
And Doom doesn't need the Purple Man to tell him to conquer the world. He just does it for the love of the game.
Yeah. That's our boy Vic. He just does it for the love of the game.
Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy we mentioned, it's actually one of my favorite episodes of the show. They come in the later half of season 2, I believe.
It's early on in season 2, actually.
No, because they fight the Hulk, right? No.
Yeah, the Hulk's there. It's one of the first few episodes, and that's where they go up against Michael Korvac. So they adapt like that Korvac storyline in that episode too.
Yeah. Master Chief the actor from Master Chief, not Master Chef, plays Star-Lord, which is a fun fact.
Yes, exactly. And the season kind of ends, and the whole series ends on an episode where everyone unites. All the Avengers literally assemble to go up against Galactus. And it feels kind of rushed and kind of tacked on as like a series finale. It's like one episode for Galactus, who we hadn't really met much before at all.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it. They like had a few episodes right before that where they were fighting the Kree Empire and everything. So it was a totally different thing. And then it turns out, I was doing some research on this, the plans for the second half of season 2 of this show changed a lot. Well, not a whole lot, but like a good amount, like significantly, where there were a lot of planned characters that got cut to be introduced. Like, I'll read them off now. Nova, Silver Surfer, the Sentry, Hercules, Morgan Le Fay, the Taskmaster, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, Doctor Strange, all cut from season 2, from the second half. They were even going to start like a multi-season story arc that involved the Red Skull, but that was just really condensed into the Winter Soldier episode where the Red Skull returns.
I really like that Red Skull episode. It was like a genuinely dark episode of the show.
Yeah. No, it was a really good episode. And just think, if they had more seasons, they could have probably continued this multi-season story arc that they planned with him. Ultron Unlimited too, they did, and I think the writers felt it was rushed because I think they wanted to like plant the seeds for it for a later season, but they just did it like pretty soon after Secret Invasion. There's also the controversy about Josh Keaton recorded all of his lines and was planned to be voicing Spider-Man in the episode that he shows up in Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Josh Keaton, who voiced Spider-Man in the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, famously.
Was it going to be the same universe as Spectacular Spider-Man? This was just Spectacular Spider-Man in a different animation?
I don't know if it would be the same universe as Spectacular Spider-Man. I know for sure it was going to be Josh Keaton originally, he said in an interview, but I think they wanted to synergize more with Ultimate Spider-Man, that cartoon, so they dubbed over him with Drake Bell, who was voicing Ultimate Spider-Man in that cartoon. So that was a big bummer. The Emperor Doom arc was supposed to happen, but they replaced that with the Emperor Stark episode. And the finale, too, with Galactus was meant to take place on the Kree planet Hala. That would have made more sense continuing the Kree storyline. They face off against Galactus there. And what I find most interesting is that the new Avengers, when they were introduced in that episode, I think the original plans were to like bring them in when the Avengers were away in the Kree like empire during Operation Galactic Storm. That way it makes sense, like if the Avengers are off world, the new Avengers are brought in to protect Earth. But instead they just did it in like a one-off episode where they're fighting Kang and they disappear for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of changes that I didn't even know about that were made to the second half of season 2 where I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
But
okay.
It's surprising. It's a lot condensed into one season, and it's still pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, it's still great. I just think it sucks that it's like kind of condensed into one season because then the show was promptly replaced by Avengers Assemble because Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the second season ended in 2012, the same year that the first Avengers movie came out. And Avengers Assemble was a cartoon that was created clearly to synergize with the MCU because the roster of that Avengers cartoon was the same one as the first Avengers movie, like the same 6 members, plus the Falcon, who was brought in as like an audience surrogate in like the first episode to kind of like be the audience's eyes, like introducing them to the Avengers.
And I don't like that take on the Falcon. I'm like, I like him as like a regular person or a guy with like a operator background, not some kid. They literally make him 17 in the show.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't like that take on the Falcon either. Making him a teenager, like what?
A 17-year-old too?
Yeah, what did you do to my boy?
Yeah.
You turned him into Spider-Man? Like what happened?
What'd you do to my man and turned him into a boy? Legally.
Yeah, you de-aged him.
There's even oh man, Avengers Assemble was like, me and my friends would watch it and we'd all just hate watch it. The problem is like, I'll say this a lot about the show, those Marvel shows that came out at the time. It's a bad show, but it had some strong episodes occasionally, which is like, oh, so like you could have been better, but you chose not to.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Haley Atwell is in the show?
Yeah,
really?
Which is cool. I just found that out when you told me before we started recording because I didn't really watch Avengers Assemble because I was not interested. I was like, great, okay, more MCU synergy.
So in the show canon, at least originally, it's the same universe of the MCU, but it just spins off at the divergence points of those universes, to use sci-fi terms and Marvel terms, is the first episode of Avengers Assemble.
Yeah, I'm like, and yeah, like you said, I heard there were good episodes. It doesn't sound like it was horrible, but I feel like it does seem like a huge step down from what we got with Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, because I don't hear anyone really talking about Avengers Assemble the same way people talk and rave about Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Like, I know so many people who love that show to death and have been dying for a way to bring it back, and people just adore that series and that cartoon, and I think there's so many people who just go like it's gone too soon.
Yeah. No, it definitely is a thing. It was gone too soon, and you and I talked about it. Season 3, it was just like so full of stuff. Like they're going to introduce mutants. Where like, no, right when Avengers are at their height is when you find out, no, X-Men First Class is happening. It's in this universe.
Yes.
Like the first class of X-Men are coming out. And you get hints of it because in the first season, the MRD exists because they're tracking down mutants. And like the Avengers, which in hindsight of like some climate stuff that's going on now is not that cool. If Avengers or S.H.I.E.L.D. catches a mutant, they would transfer them to the MRD.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, they mentioned it in the first season where like they Wasp takes down this guy and she goes like, I can't turn off his powers. He must be a mutant. And they go like, oh, we'll throw him in like supervillain jail and have the MRD taken later, which is like...
Yeah, Whirlwind, who is a mutant.
Yeah.
And yeah, because this does take place in the same universe as Wolverine and the X-Men, where Chris Yost had heavy involvement. And they call this the Yostverse because, it involves Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Wolverine and the X-Men, and like the Hulk versus movies, like Hulk versus Wolverine and Hulk versus Thor. This was all like the same universe and the same canon. So they were going to bring the X-Men in. There were no definitive plans for season 3 exactly, but there were a lot of like concepts and ideas thrown around in later years. Like on the show's 10-year anniversary of Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Christopher Yost published tweets of like what if scenarios, listing out like what if ideas for season 3. There were also released like a bunch of like pretty much episode by episode what the plan for the season could be, like what each episode could potentially do. And this would introduce a lot of new characters and ideas like the West Coast Avengers, the X-Men, like we said, the Evolutionary War storyline. They were planning on doing House of M, Avengers versus X-Men. And then he even talked about in later seasons potential ideas for like adapting the Infinity Gauntlet, Acts of Vengeance, Secret Wars. Like it's just so much wasted potential. And then in like later years too, Thomas Perkins, one of the character designers for the show, he published like a series of like what if pieces, like pieces of artwork that he did just for like potential ideas for season 3. And like this shows like the Avengers with a lot more obscure characters, but still cool like new characters, a lot of like supernatural like 70s characters too. But it would bring in like the 3D man, the X-Men, like we said, Omega the Unknown, Morbius.
It's Morbin time.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Damon Hellstrom, the son of Satan, Adam Warlock.
Well, Adam Warlock was in the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. He was in the Guardians of the Galaxy episode.
That's true, yeah. But I think they would have had Thor and Adam Warlock fighting side by side. The Wasp would be Captain Universe for an episode, probably. Get that power. Monica Rambeau and Machine Man would be brought in too. So I'm like, dang, that's crazy. There's so much wasted potential. I was keep thinking about this and keep talking about this, but like this could have been their Justice League Unlimited. Like this could have been Marvel's version of like the DCAU. They could have had their Marvel animated universe, their MAU or whatever. Like it's such a shame because they got 2 seasons and I feel like they did quite a bit with both seasons, but like there's so much more. They introduced so many cool corners of the Marvel universe, so many new characters, and there were clearly plans for more, and it's just a shame that it got cut short the way it did.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite episode, if I may ask?
The Gamma World episodes I think are pretty good. I also really love the Prisoner of War episode, the one where Captain America is being held captive by the Skrulls, and he manages to rally together like this ragtag group of captives for like a prison break from these Skrull prison. He's teaming up with so many unlikely allies, like the most unlikely being like Viper. Like he has to team up with Viper, Madam Hydra herself. There's like an AIM scientist, a SHIELD agent, Mockingbird's there, and then they also have like the Invisible Woman who's asleep for most of the episode. And it's really fun how she comes in at the end as they're like, she's like their secret weapon, like their powerhouse that they just don't have access to. So it's a really cool episode showing like Captain America being the GOAT, like being inspirational, being like a leader, being able to rally together even the most unlikely of allies, like enemies, honestly, if they were on Earth. And I think this kind of like, for me, pivots into just Captain America as a character on the show.
Yeah.
Like I said, they do all the characters so well on this show, but Captain America, and like just the fact that they replace him for Secret Invasion, that whole storyline hinges on the public and everyone trusting Captain America. I mean, they did this before Secret Empire in 2017, the Nick Spencer storyline. They did this first, just the idea that like, yeah, everyone trusts and loves and looks up to Captain America, and if you take his image, you can do some serious damage. When he returns and he comes back and he gives that big inspirational speech about humanity and their spirit and how they never give up, and he's just beating the crap out of the Skrull that's impersonating him. I was crying. I was like tears of joy. Like, this is my guy. This is Captain America, man.
One of my favorite episodes was the episode where it's Spider-Man and he teams with Spider-Man. There's a great scene where he tells Spider-Man, he goes like, the press doesn't make it easy for you, but I went and talked to the people you saved and helped. And they,
yes.
And he says like why Spider-Man is a good character, but it also shows like why Captain America is a good character, because like before they even met, he like went to people that Spider-Man had and asked them like, is he really a menace? And he said like, you're not, because you do the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's like, no matter what they say about you in the press or the media or what people on the streets say, you keep doing the right thing. That's such a good episode. Yeah. It's like right after Secret Invasion. They introduce Spider-Man, especially because Captain America is having a hard time, like, you know, recovering and salvaging his image after Secret Invasion. But what's cool is, yeah, Captain America, for one thing, not even phased. He's like, I'm going to just keep fighting. And the second part, like you were saying, is it's because of heroes like Spider-Man and how Spider-Man's constantly doing the right thing, no matter what.
Yeah.
And it's such a good introduction for Spider-Man. It's such a good team up with Captain America. It's such a good aftermath for Secret Invasion. Like, yeah, you got me with that one.
I will say I was at first when I watched the show a little tired. Literally, he always makes like Captain America. I feel every other episode makes a rant about technology, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't think he's gonna be that technophobic. But now that we're actually at the point where some of the Avengers technology is there, everything's
yeah,
an app, everything has to be downloaded on your phone. AI is kind of becoming a thing. I'm like, you know what? Captain America had a point. I rant about technology all the time. I hate iPads and ChatGPT. I hate the
yeah.
fact that like to do anything, you got to download a new thing. So I'm gonna cut that out of my list of criticisms of the show. Turns out we all became like that anyway. So
Yeah,
Captain America was actually anything ahead of the curve.
yeah, you should all be an old curmudgeonly man from the 1940s.
Yeah, I also love the episodes with Red Skull and Zemo because like I just love Captain America's like reaction. Like I know Bucky finds out Bucky's a thing, where he says like everyone I know and love is dead except Red Skull and Zemo. All the worst people just keep coming back,
Oh
and
my gosh, yeah.
the episode with Red Skull is just so dark. Like people are just dying on the street, or like whatever the Disney version is. In Captain America, like blames the Secretary of Defense, rips his face off, and it's just Red Skull,
Yeah.
and it's like,
He-
damn man, all the worst people made a comeback.
yeah, like, man, I wasn't the only one who survived. It's not even my friends. It's like all the worst people. Even
And
Bucky
Bucky,
has like become a worse version of himself, like morally.
yeah.
Like he's become like an assassin. He was brainwashed for decades.
They also brainwashed Doc Samson and Falcon in that episode too. No,
Yeah, that's true. That's
yeah,
right. Yeah.
Falcon's in that show. I always forget.
Yeah, Falcon's in the show too. They bring in so many characters from across the Marvel universe. And I think they do them all so well.
At what point are you a Shield agent, and what level do you have to get for them to go like, by the way, here's your superhero costume. Go have fun.
That's a good question. Because, like, Mockingbird is a shield agent on that show, and she gets a superhero costume pretty soon. What's interesting is one of the ultimate adaptations they do on that show is Hawkeye and Black Widow are shield agents, just like in the original Ultimate comics. But what's really funny is they both just have the exact look of their comic counterparts.
Yeah.
Like, Hawkeye's wearing the purple costume as a shield agent, which I think
Yeah.
is hilarious.
Yeah. One other weird one that they go kind of from Ultimate is they kind of hint at it in a Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes comic, which is semi-canon. I don't know if it is canon. Is that it's revealed that there's a rumor that Wasp is a mutant because she's a mutant in the Ultimate comics.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, I don't know for sure if she is or is not a mutant based on the show, but that would be a pretty cool, like, adaptation, yeah, of the Ultimate Universe version of the Wasp.
Yeah, it's hint in the comic. It's revealed Magneto thinks she's a mutant, and he tries
Oh,
to
okay.
recruit her to join the Brotherhood of Mutants.
Yeah. Magneto's just always out here being like, hey, you got powers. Are you a mutant? Want to join my cause? Like, that literally happens in, like, the 60s in, like, an early issue of Thor. He just comes up to Thor and he's like, hey, want to be a member of the Brotherhood? You look strong. You look like a big, buff, strong boy. You got a hammer and everything. You got a big flowing cape just like me. You want to be a part of the Brotherhood?
Isn't there a comic where he captures Captain America and tries to brainwash him into loving mutants, and Captain America just has no hate on him, and it just nothing changes?
Yeah. That might be like, I know he goes up against Captain America during like the Jack Kirby years in like the 70s, but yeah, that would be really funny though.
It's
Oh
like
my gosh, if that was it.
it's like the scene where you get blasted with a beam that changes something. Like it changed nothing.
Yeah, like he had no hate in his heart. Nothing changed.
Wasp, I feel, is like the heart of the team.
Yes, yeah. Wasp has done really well in this show. I like her introduction episode where she's kind of trying to convince Hank that they can be doing more, helping people as heroes. Like, she's the one to push for that. She's the one who wants to be a superhero. She is this fun-loving, like, optimistic, like, spokesperson for the Avengers eventually, and she wants to be doing more with her powers and, like, out in the world and having fun with it too.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. I can see this version of the character becoming leader of the Avengers like she did in the comics too.
Yeah. She has a big fan base. She's a very fun character. That being said, I do know for a fact there's like people going off to her.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real here. I remember as a, 13-year-old boy watching the series, and even now as an adult looking back on it, I'm like, it was kind of weird how like crazy hot they made all the women in that show.
Actually, that's a good point, and I did not think about that because I didn't care
Like,
about that as a 13-year-old.
you didn't care about that as a 13-year-old. Everyone was hot, man. They were making everyone hot on that show. Because, yeah, the Wasp, the Enchantress.
Oh, that's true, but Enchantress is supposed to be hot.
Yeah, Enchantress and the Wasp are like prime examples. Black Widow, obviously. Like, these are obvious candidates. Then, like, even Maria Hill is hot. And I'm like, what the
Well,
hell?
I mean, if you're a 13-year-old boy, like, if the wind blows the right way, you get, like, Randy.
Yeah. I'm talking everyone. You look at those character designs and you're like, they knew what they were doing.
I
I'm not
liked
letting anyone off the hook for this.
I liked Carol Danvers when she wasn't Miss Marvel. I liked the scarf and the leather jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
See? Everyone. Everyone's hot. Look up a YouTube video compilation that says I watch Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes for the plot.
I know.
Yeah.
We've both seen that video.
Yeah, we've both seen that video. Anyone who's seen Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes has seen that video.
That is because of the amount of views on it. If you look up on YouTube Earth's Mightiest Heroes, I think that's like one of the first 3 you get.
Oh my gosh,
No,
yeah.
Wasp, like that costume design is really cool. I don't know if they if it's from the comics, because I know it's in the comics now. That's a design they use now. She has like a very healthy. I know we discussed this. It's a mixed relationship with Hank Pym.
I mean, it's kind of like the least of all the evils when you look at the Hank and Janet relationships. Like, it's still not great.
Yeah.
It's better than most other versions, I guess, but like, he's still kind of like not really there as a partner and not really present.
But I feel it's a very realistic-ish relationship for someone in their. I don't know. I feel Wasp is in her 20s. I don't know if Hank is, so like I think there's an age difference. But at least they're adults. But I feel the first season they have like an actual relationship you could see in like some people in real life. Guys, one person's really concentrating on doing stuff, and the other person just wants to go out and have fun, live life, be out in the town and meet other couples. Yeah, and
yeah, that's true.
I do like this take on Hank Pym. Season 1 is very much like a very progressive take on the character. Like, he's a pacifist. He doesn't want to hurt people. He's friends with all the animals. Like, he doesn't just talk to ants. He talks to all the insects. He talks to worms too, for some reason.
And I do like what they do with Hank Pym in the first season of that show, because he is all about rehabilitation of criminals. He's a pacifist, like you're saying. Like, he really just wants to be a scientist, and he wants to use his discoveries in like science to help people.
Yeah.
And he's really just like, he's not out to really be like a superhero, like beating up bad guys and things like that. Which makes his downfall all the more tragic in season 2 when he becomes Yellow Jacket.
But he is the epitome of, in society, of what we want a scientist to be. A guy who's just into discovering stuff to help other people. Like, he wants to rehabilitate criminals. He builds the prison that causes the Avengers to assemble at like these massive prisons inside that are tiny, because he says like, well, criminals need to be separated from the rest, but they need a place where they can be safe to be rehabilitated. And also, here are Ultron prison guards and psychiatrists. You could get free therapy from the Ultron robots.
Yep.
Yeah,
like, he's doing everything he can to help everyone.
Yeah.
Even the super criminals. Oftentimes, especially them. He thinks they need help the most.
And sometimes they don't like him for it. But like, there's a scene where this guy's like, I'm in prison. Hank goes, you're not in prison. You're in a special mental health facility where you can be separated from the rest of society so you could get better. Which is like, I mean, yeah, there's something dark about that. But you can see the good intentions that Hank honestly means it. And I do appreciate that about Hank.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. He's definitely one of might be my favorite version of the character.
I will say there's something toxic, because it seems like there's a scene where they go like, do you shower, do laundry, or even eat if Janet's not there to remind you? And it turns out it's like, possibly not.
Yeah. And that is kind of realistic in a way. There are unfortunately people who like don't take care of themselves, and like their partners are the ones to like take care of them or reminding them to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do so many characters so well. I mean, Thor in this version, I think, is so good. Like, he's a badass. He's incredibly powerful and cool. And like an old school way, they're able to adapt that like dramatic, heroic, like Shakespearean Thor from the comics so well in a way they just weren't able to do in the MCU, honestly. Like, for the most part. Yeah, they tried, but like it doesn't land, I think, on screen as well as it did here in animation. And like this version of the character has so many cool moments. He's like is one of the major powerhouses of the team. You get his conflict of like getting torn between Earth and Asgard, his love for both of his two homes, and his love for humanity too.
Yeah.
And I think they do it really well. Even without like the Donald Blake persona, they're able to show the romance with Jane Foster, who he just encounters in the world, you know?
Who's a paramedic and not a doctor or a scientist in this one.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think is a pretty good change and works pretty well.
The one weird one I feel though is I don't like how they draw him. He's really big. Like
Yeah,
everyone's tiny compared to him, and for some reason in my mind, that's what I think of Thor. And when I first saw Chris Hemsworth shirtless in the third Thor movie, I'm like, wait, he's just like regular big. He's not massive. Because I was just thinking of Earth's Mightiest Hero, and I'm like, this guy can't like this guy's just regular size,
he
but
can't
slightly
compete
bigger.
with a drawing, all right? None of us can. None of us can compete with that.
You can with steroids.
It's like if you look at like absolute Batman and like post that picture and be like, is this an attainable physique? How do I attain this body type?
Surgery and drugs.
Yeah, like I gotta get a hand of real life venom, the kind that Bane uses. Like whatever the equivalent of that is, get me some of that.
I love in Batman Beyond when it's revealed, like, yeah, it will kill you eventually, just like steroids. And I'm like,
yeah, probably worse. These are like extra steroids.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Venom is like one of the few things we can just make in real life because they're just steroids, but steroids on steroids.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you'll be unbeatable in a fight and then you'll die of a heart attack. Thor, he is kind of like, when on Earth, sometimes I do feel it's a little boring. He is a character I feel if you don't have other characters to balance him out, he does get kind of boring though. Where he just talks.
I don't know.
He's a little flanderized in the show where he just talks in. Not that it's a bad character, but like he just talks in like old timey stuff. He can't relate. And I feel like he needs someone to balance him out. Is my take on Thor.
Maybe. I don't know. I think he does really well in like his introductory episode and like the micro episodes they stitched together. I thought that was really cool seeing him go up against the Frost Giants and Loki and with his fellow Asgardians, and seeing him go on Earth too on the other side going up against like the Wrecking Crew and everything. And then I also loved the Beta Ray Bill episode where they introduce Beta Ray Bill and have the two of them going up against like, you know, Surtur's demons and everything.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
I love the episode where he and Black Panther and Iron Man team up and they fight the Dark Elves and Thor just goes, Tony, they're weak to iron. You're the man of iron.
That's also a fun episode too because it's all like the magic versus science stuff. You see Thor and Iron Man going head to head on that debate, which is cool.
Yeah. They do the thing where Iron Man it very much is like this is an MCU Iron Man in a slightly better world. They also do the thing where like just like the MCU, he is just the cause of like a lot of villain suffering. Like Wonder Man hates him.
Yeah, like Wonder Man.
Yeah, Prince Dino was like, I'll do anything for you if I get to kill Iron Man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true. Very much like the Iron Man of the comics or the MCU, like Tony Stark sometimes is his own worst enemy, as the song goes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I am my own worst enemy. From Parks and Rec. They throw him at the Dark Elf saying like, you're the man of iron, right? And Dark Elf just is scared for a minute and he goes like, you have surprisingly little iron in your armor, man of iron.
I think one of my favorite characters on this show is the Hulk too. Yeah. I think the Hulk gets the most personality we've seen outside of the comics. Or like feel like in media adaptations, often the Hulk is reduced to just a mindless brute or like an ape, or like he can't even form sentences. This show is such a good example of the Hulk being a separate personality from Banner, having his own wants and needs outside of Bruce Banner as well, and the two of them like interfacing in their mindscape.
He also seems to be, the longer he is Hulk, the more of Banner he absorbs. Like, he's Hulk for a while, and then at one point he corrects Tony on gamma radiation.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's like, yeah, it's a form of cosmic radiation.
And they're like,
what the fuck? How does
Hulk
he know
scientist
that?
On
for Hulk has PhD.
Hulk PhD. He's professor at Columbia for side gig.
It's really cool, and I think you can tell a lot of this Hulk's personality is based on like their Hulk from the original Lee Kirby Avengers comics, where he does have his own personality, and he is kind of rough around the edges and kind of like a brute. but he is heroic and does have like this heart of gold to him too. And I think it's interesting too that they do this differently than the original comics, where like in both versions the Hulk leaves shortly after founding the Avengers, but in Earth's Mightiest Heroes he comes back and he's like a mainstay for a while.
Yeah.
And I feel like they do that better than the original comics, where I'm like, well, I can see how the Hulk would work as an Avenger. This is awesome. Like they didn't get to do this in the original comics, and I think that's kind of an improvement they make here.
They also do this thing where like he is a brute and a monster to a certain degree, but like you say, he has character. But there's a scene I believe when they're investigating the damage the Hulk did, and they find out like he does try to prevent innocent lives from being like taken when he has that
Yeah.
opportunity.
At the end of the day, he's a hero. Like,
Yeah.
despite what people see on the outside as a monster and the perception with like the government and the military hunting him, like at the end of the day, he's constantly on the run and he's constantly having to fend off like people who are hounding him and hating him, but he does the right thing and like saves innocent lives when the occasion arises. And that's
I
why I really like the Gamma World episode, going back to that, because Hulk is heavily featured, which is fantastic. He's going up against like the leader and all these Gamma foes. But you also get the spotlight for like other characters, like in the first part, Black Panther is shown to be so cool and so badass. Like I love Black Panther on this show. He's kind of like their Batman, really. He's just like stealthily sneaking around and doing stuff, and like he's also like a genius and prepared for pretty much anything, and is very like stoic and quiet but like cool. This show is like a big reason why I'm such a Black Panther fan.
Oh yeah, Black Panther's done very well in this. Like you say, his stoic, his cool. He's the most reasonable, I'll say.
Yeah, he's very wise too. Yeah, like he is a king, and yeah, he's super reasonable and rational. And I love Hawkeye on this show too, who plays a big part in the second part of Gamma World, where it's like
He's
mainly
the
Hulk.
wisecracker.
Yeah, like Hulk and Hawkeye like go in the Gamma Dome to stop the leader, and Hawkeye's like the big catalyst to get the Hulk to join him. And the Hulk Hawkeye relationship is so much fun on this show. Like
Yeah.
their kind of frenemies relationship is very fun. And
Yeah.
Hawkeye, he's a wisecracker, he's a lovable loudmouth, just like in the comics. But he's also easy to underestimate, and actually like is kind of their secret weapon when they most need it, like in the Gamma World episode, when he like brings the Hulk along and they go in to take down the leader. And that's also a cool moment for Thor too, because Thor's the only one who's not affected by like the gamma radiation in the dome. And it's Thor, Hawkeye, and Hulk versus the leader. And Thor has this really cool fight with the Absorbing Man. The Absorbing Man absorbs the Uru metal from Mjolnir, and Thor's getting like beaten up by Absorbing Man, and Absorbing Man's like, fight back, and Thor's like, I can't, for I'm concentrating. And it shows him like using his control over Mjolnir like on the Absorbing Man, since he absorbed the hammer, and he's like, you were foolish to think that you could absorb the qualities of Mjolnir, mortal. Its power is not yours to command, it's mine. And then he just flings him up out into space, and the
Yeah.
Absorbing Man's gone. Like, they're so cool.
I will say I really love it when those moments, but I also love the moments where like Thor underestimates humanity. Though oftentimes, because it turns out humanity can be shittier than Asgardians.
Yeah.
Or like it's like Zemo, Enchantress is going to betray you, and Zemo just goes like, "Not if I betray her first."
Yeah. It's really fun, yeah. The villains are pretty shitty and backstabbing to each other, and it's a lot of fun.
But that's the point of villains. some would say.
Exactly, yeah. I love the Masters of Evil on this show. There's such great villains.
Doctor Doom is great. Like he is just classic Doom.
Yeah,
He
no,
has his own
exactly.
country. He's looking out for the best of humanity in his own messed up way.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. It's a shame we didn't get more of him, honestly.
I know.
Because we only got like a couple appearances of him on this show. I would really love to see more of his inferiority complex towards Reed Richards. But
Yeah. Ultron's
Ultron's great.
I feel he's like the most recurring villain in this show because every time you think you blew him up, he comes back.
Yeah, he comes back in one way or another.
He
Brings in the Vision too,
Yeah.
who I think is a really good addition for the brief period we get him. I think the Vision has some great moments in the second half of season 2.
And he's the one that saves the world from Emperor Stark.
Yeah, that's right. Able to like bring the rest of the Avengers back to their senses and help bring the rest of the world back to their senses.
Yeah.
But Ultron's, yeah, really cool too. They make him a huge threat, and like we said before, he's built up in a really good way that like feels like, oh, this is earned. Like I can see how we got to this point. Just the devastation of this good intention on Hank Pym's part going all wrong.
He also just has a sinister Charles Dance-esque voice to him. Like the way he just talks is just sinister, and he just has this. He is smarter than you is what they kind of portray.
Yeah, no, that's true. Ultron's super cool in this series and menacing.
Yeah.
And I also, last thing I think I want to talk about, last character anyways, is Carol Danvers. I think is a great addition to the team in season 2. I think she gets a lot of really good spotlight. And also, like, for one thing, they needed more women on that team. They literally just had the Wasp. So it's cool getting like Carol on the team for like more female representation. But it's also cool how she's like a big powerhouse too. Like she's on levels of like Hulk and Thor. Like there's a moment where she's like holding her own against the Hulk, which is pretty awesome.
I think she's also the most authoritarian, which is something they've done in the comics too. She's the most authoritarian character-wise of the characters. Like she's the most cop-like, other than maybe Captain America.
For better or worse. I mean, not like Civil War 2 territory, but like, yeah, she is like that because she is like a member of SWORD.
Yeah. She's a colonel, which is a higher rank than which they point out is a higher rank than captain.
And this gives her like big connection to cosmic Marvel, and when she joined the Avengers, more of a connection to the cosmic side of Marvel that they really need. So I think that makes Carol a great addition to the team, is that she has connections to SWORD and the Kree and Marvel and everything, and it makes so much sense to put her on the team. And I think she's got a good attitude about her, and like it is a huge powerhouse and a badass.
My favorite line of hers when Vision is trying to do his hero thing, and he finds out, hey, something's going wrong with the world. It's all under Tony Stark's rule. He fights Miss Marvel, and Carol just says, hey, robot, you break the law, I break you.
Yeah.
And he's just like, what is this woman?
Yeah, like, she's hardcore.
Yeah.
She's not messing around.
Yeah. I don't like her costume, though. Like, there's some Marvel characters that even more than DC, I like the character, I just not always the biggest fan of the costume. And I think she's one of the characters whose costumes was really improved by the MCU.
I was hoping, like, if they went further with the show, that they could move on to her, like, 70s Ms. Marvel outfit. The black costume that's got, like, the giant yellow S on it. And not the original costume that she had that they went with in the show, which is, like, I'm not a huge fan of it either.
I'm not a fan of it. It's better than the original, but I do like the MCU. I'm going to be controversial. I really like the MCU costume a bit more.
Yeah. I mean, her Captain Marvel outfit is fantastic. I love that costume. Yeah. So, and I heard rumors that like if they kept going with the show, they would make her into Captain Marvel, and she would get that outfit probably. But we'll never know now.
Yep, it's a shame. The show was good.
Yeah, no, it's such a good show, and we'll always have those 2 seasons at least.
Yeah, they could always bring it back because they did bring back Young Justice of all things.
Yeah. Here's hoping, but I also wouldn't want them to bring it back just for it to be kind of a letdown, after all this time.
Yeah, but Young Justice was good, so you never know.
Yeah, you never know. I heard mixed things about the later 2 seasons of Young Justice. But
I thought it was fine. I don't know what... I get some of the stuff was a bit rushed, but I don't know what people are complaining about.
Well, there you have it then. No, I just saw the first 2 seasons.
You should watch them. Young Justice is, I think, it really is such a great universe. I was gonna say it's underrated, but it's not underrated because a lot of people love it. So.
Yeah, there's a reason they brought it back. It's because people were clamoring for it.
They brought it back twice because it got canceled season 3, and then they made season 4.
Yeah,
they keep ending it on a cliffhanger.
Well, I'm just saying, if you can bring back like the 90s X-Men cartoon after they already had like 5 seasons before, I would hope we could at some point down the line bring back Earth's Mightiest Heroes, because I feel like there's so much left of that universe to explore, and so many parts of the Marvel universe left to introduce, and so many cool storylines they could adapt and characters they could bring in. Like,
I also would be okay with a spin-off because they just did so much in that show.
Yeah, we could get a spin-off series about, I know the X-Men they were planning to bring in based on the concept art was like the original 5 X-Men First Class. I would love like a X-Men First Class animated series set in that universe. Or we could get one on the Fantastic Four, Guardians of the Galaxy. But yeah.
The Guardians of the Galaxy was kind of like a spin-off episode all on its own, so why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Any final thoughts before we wrap up, Josh?
No, I think I said my piece.
Well, that's it for us this episode. I think next time we're going to get back to some Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
If that's cool with you, Josh.
It's more than cool with me.
Awesome. I love Ultimate Spider-Man. You know we love Ultimate Spider-Man. It's going to be Ultimate Spider-Man probably 86 through 90. I think that's the Silver Sable arc. So this should be very fun.
That is an interesting one.
Yeah, so I can't wait to talk about it. Until next time, Josh, where can our listeners get in touch with us if they want to email us about the comics we read, the stuff we talk about on the podcast, comics in general, or anything else, really?
It's ultimatecomicspodcast@gmail.com, and we'd love to hear, and if it's okay with you, read your fan mail in front of everyone.
That is right. You can also reach out to us on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, where we post images from the comics we read on Instagram. We have reels and TikToks we post. We also have full episodes on YouTube with video. But yeah, until next time, everyone, take care and make mine Ultimate Comics. Bye-bye.